The Galactic Confederation's survey ship Eternal Seeker hung motionless at the edge of an unremarkable solar system, its sensors prodding the third planet with growing confusion. Captain Zixera, her crystalline form gleaming under the bridge's soft lighting, studied the readings with all four of her optical clusters. "Impossible," she whispered, her crystalline structure vibrating with disbelief. "Run the atmospheric analysis again." Her science officer, Ven 8, a being composed of pure energy contained within an advanced environmental suit, moved his appendages across the holographic interface. "Captain, I've run it 17 times. The results remain consistent. The planet's surface experiences temperature variations of over 140 degrees in their standard measurement. The atmosphere is a volatile mix of nitrogen and oxygen, with trace amounts of numerous corrosive gases. The magnetic field is strong enough to disrupt our most basic navigation systems. And the gravity." He paused, his energy form flickering with concern. "The gravity is nearly twice what any known sentient species can comfortably survive in." Zixera's crystal structure shifted colors, reflecting her unease. The Confederation had cataloged millions of worlds, categorized countless species, but this was different. Their long-range sensors had detected radio signals from this system, suggesting intelligent life. But how could anything survive, let alone develop technology, in such conditions? "Show me the surface imagery," she commanded. The holographic display came to life, showing vast cities sprawling across continents, vehicles moving through the air and on the ground, and most shockingly, beings walking about without any apparent environmental protection. "They're not just surviving," Ven 8 observed, his energy form pulsing with excitement. "They're thriving. Look at these readings. They have artificial structures in regions where the temperature drops below freezing, in areas where their water turns solid. They have settlements in regions hot enough to melt our ship's standard hull plating. They're even building underwater." The bridge crew fell silent as they watched a human aircraft punch through their planet's thick atmosphere, navigating through what their sensors registered as lethal wind speeds and pressure changes that would tear apart any standard Confederation vessel. "How are they doing this?" Zixera demanded, her crystalline form now at a deep blue of scientific curiosity. "What kind of biological engineering could possibly—" "That's just it, Captain," Ven 8 interrupted, his energy form practically crackling with excitement. "They're not engineered. According to our biological scans, they're completely natural. Their bodies evolved to survive these conditions." The implications hit Zixera like a gravitational wave. The Confederation had always assumed that intelligent life could only evolve in carefully controlled conditions, stable atmospheres, minimal gravity fluctuations, regulated temperatures. Their entire understanding of xenobiology was based on this assumption. "Send a probe," she ordered, then quickly added, "but keep it at high altitude. If these conditions are their normal—" She paused, her crystal structure shimmering with the weight of the realization. "Then we need to completely rethink our approach to first contact." As the probe descended into Earth's atmosphere, the crew watched in fascination as humans went about their daily lives, completely unbothered by conditions that would kill most known sentient species in seconds. They saw children playing in snowstorms, workers building in scorching deserts, and sailors navigating massive oceans during storms that would shred Confederation ships. "Captain," Ven 8 said softly, his energy form dimming with reverence, "I don't think we've discovered a primitive species surviving against all odds. I think we've discovered something far more significant. A species that evolved to master conditions we deemed impossible. The question isn't how they survive here. It's what kind of power could a species wield if they developed in an environment that would kill most advanced races instantly." Zixera's crystalline form pulsed with a deep violet of agreement. She had been tasked with cataloging new species for the Confederation, but this discovery would shake the foundations of their understanding of life itself. These humans weren't just another species to add to their database. They were living proof that everything they thought they knew about survival and adaptation needed to be reconsidered. "Prepare a Priority 1 transmission to Confederation Command," she ordered, her crystal structure now glowing with determination. Classification: Ultra-Secret. Subject: Discovery of extinction-level environment adapted sentience. "And Ven 8, she added, her form shifting to a cautionary amber. "Recommend immediate implementation of First Contact Protocol override. These humans aren't primitive survivors on a harsh world. They're the masters of conditions we considered impossible. And we need to approach them with that understanding, or we risk learning firsthand just how powerful a species has to be to call this deadly environment home." The Confederation's premier xenobiological research vessel, the Truth Seeker, arrived in Earth's orbit 3 standard cycles after Captain Zixera's initial report. Unlike the sleek survey ships, this vessel bristled with sensors and specialized equipment, its hull reinforced to withstand extreme conditions, though even these reinforcements seemed inadequate for Earth's environment. Chief Researcher Nix 427, a gaseous being contained within an advanced computational matrix, supervised as her team of scientists attempted to make sense of the data flooding their systems. Their most sophisticated equipment, designed to study life in what the Confederation had previously considered extreme environments, was overwhelmed by the sheer variety of conditions humans routinely survived. "The readings make no sense," stated Assistant Researcher Cole, a silicon-based life form, his crystalline appendages twitching as he reviewed the latest atmospheric analysis. "These humans don't just endure their environment. They actively seek out its most dangerous aspects for entertainment." The holographic display showed humans diving into deep oceans, climbing frozen mountains, and even jumping from high altitudes through their turbulent atmosphere. Each activity would have been considered suicidal by Confederation standards. "Look at this," Cole continued, his crystal structure vibrating with disbelief. "They deliberately expose themselves to increased solar radiation to alter their skin pigmentation. They willingly enter water at temperatures that would solidify our biological processes. Some even intentionally experience rapid altitude changes for pleasure." Nix 427's gaseous form swirled thoughtfully within her matrix. "Focus on their basic biological functions. How are they achieving this level of adaptation?" The research team's findings were revolutionary. Humans possessed internal temperature regulation that could function across a range that would destroy most known life forms. Their respiratory system could process an atmosphere that would be considered toxic by Confederation standards. Their bones and muscles, evolved under Earth's crushing gravity, gave them strength that seemed almost supernatural when compared to other spacefaring races. "Their cellular structure is fascinating," reported Dr. May, an energy-based being specializing in molecular biology. "Their cells can repair damage from radiation, adapt to pressure changes, and even fight off microscopic invaders. They're constantly at war with their environment at a cellular level, and winning." But it was their reproductive process that truly shocked the researchers. Humans could not only survive in these conditions, but successfully breed and raise offspring. Their young were born completely vulnerable, yet had a remarkable survival rate. "They're not using any advanced technology to achieve this," Nix 427 observed, her gaseous form condensing with concentration. "This is pure biological adaptation, refined over millions of years of evolution in conditions we considered unsurvivable." The implications were staggering. The Confederation had always assumed that advanced civilization could only arise in carefully controlled environments. Their entire understanding of technological progress was based on the idea that a species needed to achieve environmental stability before it could develop complex tools and social structures. Yet here were humans who had developed advanced technology while constantly battling conditions that would kill most species instantly. They hadn't needed to create perfect environments to advance. They had evolved to thrive in imperfection. "There's something else," Cole added, his crystalline form pulsing with excitement. "Their psychological adaptation is as remarkable as their physical resilience. They don't just survive these conditions, they've built their entire culture around mastering them. The displays showed humans celebrating their victories over their environment, building cities in deserts, establishing research stations in frozen wastes, creating underwater habitats, and launching vessels into space using chemical rockets that would be considered primitively dangerous by Confederation standards. We need to revise our entire classification system, Nix 427 declared, her gaseous form expanding with the gravity of the revelation. We've been categorizing species based on their technological advancement, but we never considered that the most advanced adaptation might be the ability to thrive in conditions we thought impossible. As the research team compiled their findings, a new understanding began to emerge. Earth wasn't a death world that somehow spawned intelligent life. It was a crucible that had forged humanity into something unprecedented in the galaxy, a species that didn't need perfect conditions to excel, that could adapt to almost any environment, and that viewed challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Prepare a comprehensive report for the Confederation Council, Nix 427 ordered, her form shimmering with anticipation. Classification: Paradigm Shift Event. Subject: Redefinition of survivable parameters and species classification standards. Note in the introduction: everything we thought we knew about the conditions necessary for advanced life was wrong. Despite the warnings from both Captain Zix-Era and the research team, the Confederation Council decided to proceed with official first contact. Ambassador Lyra 9, renowned for establishing peaceful relations with over 300 species, led the diplomatic mission. Her ship, the Unity Bearer, carried the most advanced environmental protection systems ever developed. "We've taken every possible precaution," Lyra 9 assured her crew, her plasma-based form glowing confidently within her containment field. "Our landing craft has been specially modified to withstand Earth's conditions. We will make history today." The chosen landing site was a remote area in what humans called Switzerland, selected for its relatively stable conditions compared to other regions of the planet. As the diplomatic vessel began its descent, the first signs of trouble appeared immediately. "Ambassador, the atmospheric interface is far more volatile than our calculations suggested," reported the pilot, a quantum state being named Trell. "The ship's compensators are struggling with the gravity fluctuations." Lyra 9's plasma form pulsed with determination. "Proceed with the landing. We've prepared for this." But they hadn't. Not really. As they penetrated deeper into Earth's atmosphere, the true nature of the planet's normal conditions became apparent. The ship's hull creaked under pressures that exceeded their worst-case scenarios. Warning systems blared as the atmospheric composition began corroding their outer shields at an alarming rate. "Multiple systems failing," Trell announced, their quantum state flickering with stress. "The gravity is interfering with our anti-mass fields. We're experiencing material stress beyond safety parameters." Before Lyra 9 could respond, a phenomenon the humans called a thunderstorm engulfed their ship. Lightning, pure electrical discharge powerful enough to power a small Confederation city, struck their vessel repeatedly. The ship's energy absorption systems overloaded instantly. "Emergency ascent," Lyra 9 ordered, but it was too late. The combination of Earth's gravity, atmospheric pressure, and electromagnetic interference had already compromised their core systems. The landing craft, designed to withstand the harshest known environments in the galaxy, was being torn apart by what humans considered mild weather. "Mayday! Mayday!" Trell broadcast as their quantum form began to destabilize. "The conditions, they're impossible. How do they live like this?" As the ship plummeted toward Earth's surface, human emergency responders were already mobilizing. They tracked the falling vessel on their primitive but effective radar systems, completely unaffected by the electromagnetic storm that had crippled the advanced alien craft. The crash was inevitable. Despite their best technology, despite years of preparation, the Confederation's first official contact with Earth ended in disaster barely 15 minutes after entering the atmosphere. The landing craft impacted in a remote valley, its wreckage scattered across terrain that the crew's few surviving sensors still insisted was unsurvivable. What happened next would be recorded in both human and Confederation history. Local human emergency services, wearing what the aliens considered to be absurdly minimal protection, rushed to the crash site through the continuing storm. They moved with incredible speed and efficiency in conditions that had just destroyed one of the most advanced ships in the galaxy. "They're not wearing environmental suits," gasped one of the surviving crew members, watching through the ship's failing sensors as humans approached through rain and lightning. How are they even breathing? The humans' rescue operation was both impressive and terrifying to the alien observers. They cut through the ship's hull using primitive thermal tools, seemingly unconcerned about the toxic atmosphere inside the vessel mixing with their air. They worked tirelessly in what their own bodies told them was crushing gravity, carrying heavy equipment through mud and rain. Lyra 9, her plasma form barely contained within her failing emergency field, watched in awe as humans entered the wreckage. Their bodies, evolved to thrive in these conditions, moved with natural grace through an environment that had just proven lethal to the most advanced technology in the galaxy. "Ambassador," one of the human rescuers called out, somehow knowing her role despite never having seen her species before. "We're here to help. Please remain calm." The irony wasn't lost on Lyra 9. Here she was, a representative of one of the most advanced civilizations in known space, being rescued by beings who hadn't even achieved regular interstellar travel. Yet in this environment, their environment, they were clearly the superior species. As the humans worked to save the alien diplomatic team, a message was already being transmitted to the Confederation Council. First contact protocol has failed, not due to hostile action or technological inadequacy, but because we fundamentally underestimated what it means to evolve on Earth. These humans don't need protection from their environment. They are its masters. And we need to completely rethink how we approach relations with a species that calls impossible conditions home. The Confederation Council's emergency session stretched into its third cycle as representatives from across the galaxy struggled to process the implications of the failed Earth mission. The massive circular chamber, designed to accommodate beings of all known forms, buzzed with nervous energy as Ambassador Lyra 9's report was presented. High Counselor Vex, a being of pure thought housed in a quantum crystal matrix, addressed the assembled representatives. "The footage you are about to witness will fundamentally change our understanding of what constitutes advanced life in our galaxy." The holographic display activated, showing the rescue operation from multiple angles. The assembled aliens watched in stunned silence as humans worked efficiently in conditions their sensors classified as lethal. Most shocking was the casual way the humans handled what the Confederation considered extreme hazards. "Notice," Vex continued, their quantum matrix pulsing with emphasis, "how they breathe their caustic atmosphere without assistance, how they move through their crushing gravity as if it were nothing, how their bodies regulate temperature despite dramatic environmental fluctuations." The recording showed a human firefighter running into the burning wreckage of the diplomatic vessel, emerging minutes later carrying a containment pod holding one of the Confederation's energy-based crew members. The firefighter's only protection was what the Council now knew to be a remarkably simple insulated suit. No force fields, no gravity compensation, no atmospheric processors. Dr. Mai, the molecular biology specialist from the Truth Seeker, took the floor. Her energy form flickered with excitement as she presented her findings. What we previously classified as impossible survival conditions are, in fact, the foundation of human biological excellence. They don't just endure these conditions, they require them to function properly. The display shifted to show human cellular structure. Their bodies are in a constant state of adaptation. They can repair radiation damage, fight off microscopic invaders, and modify their internal chemistry to match environmental demands. What we consider lethal, they consider normal. What we consider normal, they would find insufficient to maintain their biological processes. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the council chamber. A representative from the Silicon Collective raised an appendage. Are you suggesting that humans would find our carefully regulated environments inadequate? Precisely, Dr. May confirmed. Most of our worlds would be too sterile, too stable for optimal human function. Their bodies require regular environmental stress to maintain peak condition. They exercise by deliberately stressing their muscular and skeletal systems. They expose themselves to controlled environmental hazards to strengthen their immune responses. The implications were staggering. The Confederation had spent millennia developing technology to create perfect, stable environments. They had assumed this was the universal path to advancement. Yet here was a species that had achieved spaceflight while embracing environmental chaos. There's more, Ambassador Lyra 9 added, her plasma form still showing signs of stress from her Earth experience. Their psychological adaptation is even more remarkable than their physical resilience. They don't fear these conditions. They challenge them. They climb their highest mountains, dive into their deepest oceans, and explore their most extreme environments not out of necessity, but out of curiosity. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Species that had long considered themselves advanced now had to confront the possibility that their technological progress had come at the cost of biological regression. While they had built environments to suit their limitations, humans had evolved to master their environment's challenges. High Counselor Vex called for order. The implications of this discovery go beyond biology or technology. We must reconsider our entire understanding of civilization's progression. The humans have shown us that true advancement might not lie in controlling one's environment, but in developing the resilience to thrive in any condition. A new classification was proposed: evolutionary apex adaptives, species that had achieved advanced civilization not by conquering their environment, but by evolving to embrace its challenges. Earth would be the first planet in this category, and humans its first recognized species. This changes everything, Vex declared, their quantum matrix resonating with the weight of the revelation. Our assumptions about technological advancement, about biological optimization, about the very nature of progress, all must be reevaluated. The humans don't need our environmental technology. They don't need our gravity control or atmospheric processors. They have achieved something far more valuable: the ability to thrive in conditions that would kill most advanced species instantly. As the council session concluded, a new directive was issued. All future contact with Earth would be conducted on human terms, in human conditions. The Confederation would need to develop entirely new protocols for dealing with a species that had turned what they considered impossible conditions into their greatest strength. One standard year after the failed diplomatic mission, Earth's orbit had become a hub of unprecedented galactic activity. Dozens of research vessels hovered at a safe distance, their crews working frantically to develop new technologies that could withstand Earth's conditions. But more importantly, they were there to learn from humanity's example. The Confederation had established a space station at the edge of Earth's gravitational influence, the closest they could safely maintain their preferred environmental conditions. From here, High Counselor Vex coordinated the most ambitious cultural exchange program in galactic history. We spent millennia believing that advanced civilization meant controlling nature. Vex addressed a gathering of scientists and diplomats, their quantum matrix shimmering with newfound wisdom. The humans have shown us that true advancement lies in adaptation, not control. The humans, for their part, had taken the revelation of alien life with remarkable composure. Their response to learning that most of the galaxy considered their planet uninhabitable was not fear or pride, but curiosity. They immediately began working on ways to help their new alien friends survive Earth's conditions. The solution was obvious once we stopped thinking like engineers and started thinking like humans, explained Dr. Sarah Chen, lead scientist of the Earth Confederation Joint Adaptation Project. Instead of trying to shield aliens from our environment, we're helping them adapt to it, just as we did over millions of years. The project had already yielded stunning results. Using human biological templates, Confederation scientists had begun developing new forms of environmental suits that didn't just protect against Earth's conditions, they actively adapted to them. The technology was revolutionary, incorporating principles learned from human cellular structure. "Watch this," Dr. Chen demonstrated, as a suited alien researcher walked through a rainstorm for the first time. The suit's surface rippled and adjusted, mimicking the way human skin responds to environmental changes. It's not perfect, but it's a start. They can now experience our world for up to an hour at a time. But the technological breakthroughs were just the beginning. The real revolution was philosophical. Species across the galaxy began to question their dependence on artificial environmental control. Some even started experimental programs to gradually reintroduce environmental stress into their societies, hoping to recover some of their lost adaptive capabilities. "The humans have given us something far more valuable than technology," announced Ambassador Lyra 9, now recovered from her crash and serving as the permanent Confederation representative to Earth. "They've shown us that comfort isn't the same as progress, that challenges don't need to be eliminated to be overcome." The impact on galactic society was profound. Worlds that had been dismissed as too hostile for colonization were reconsidered. Species that had been regarded as primitive because they lived in challenging environments were reevaluated. The entire metric for measuring civilization's advancement had to be rewritten. Humanity's first steps into the galactic community were equally transformative. Rather than adopting alien technology to make their lives easier, they focused on helping other species become more resilient. Earth became known as the Crucible of Strength, a place where species could learn to push beyond their perceived limitations. "We never thought our greatest contribution to galactic society would be our planet's harsh conditions," remarked General Maria Torres, head of Earth's new Interstellar Relations Command. "But it turns out that what made Earth challenging for us is exactly what made us strong enough to join the galactic community as equals, not subordinates." The Confederation's official classification of Earth was finally updated in their archives. It no longer read Death World or even Evolutionary Apex Adaptive World. Instead, it was simply labeled Humanity's Cradle, where impossibility breeds excellence. As the sun set on another impossibly harsh Earth day, humans and their new alien friends watched from the adaptation facility in the Himalayas. The aliens wore their new adaptive suits, marveling at how their human hosts thrived in conditions that had once seemed unsurvivable. In that moment, both species understood a fundamental truth. The greatest strength isn't in conquering nature or hiding from it, but in learning to dance with its chaos, to find harmony in hardship, and to turn challenging conditions into the foundation of excellence. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Earth wasn't a hostile world that somehow spawned life. It was the forge that had created one of the most remarkable species in the universe. And now, its harsh embrace was teaching the rest of the galaxy what humanity had known all along. That true resilience comes not from avoiding challenges, but from embracing them as opportunities for growth.